Good day, subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am Jeremy. This is the Financial Education Channel, and today we're doing Stock Market Weekly Recap number 27 ever in history, guys. We are recapping the August 3rd, 2017 week. We're going to look at how the markets did this week. We're going to look at some of the stocks that went up and down the most. We're going to look at some of the biggest news stories, which we had some huge earnings this week. And then we're going to look at the big earnings we have for next week, which we got quite a few big companies report numbers next week that I'm going to be keeping my eye on. By the way, do you notice something different about this video? There's something very different that I do in every single video or have in every single video, and it's not in this video. Let me know in that comment section if you notice something different. I just realized as I'm talking to you right now. First off, the Dow Jones this week had a very nice week. It went up 1.2%. The NASDAQ had a bad week for once. It went down 0.3% there. We had the S&P 500 up 0.2%. So this week was all about the Dow. The Dow has been an underperformer, especially if you consider it toward the NASDAQ. It's like done half as well. And this week, the Dow just had a great week, guys. So let's look at some of these stocks that did the best this week. And by the way, the Dow partial was because of Apple. Apple going up so much, that definitely helped out the Dow. Lumber Liquidators, look at this stock this week. Holy smokes, 42% gain in the last 5 days for Lumber Liquidators. That used to be a high flyer. Then they had some type of issue with the flooring, and they were using some type of chemical that's banned in America from some of their product that was getting made in China. And now obviously it's bouncing back. Manitowoc Company, which is a crane company, and they do have a few other businesses. That one went up over 24% this week. Big move there. Boot Barn went up over 24% this week. Guess people are still buying boots. Yelp, look at the week. Yelp had 21% gain for Yelp. Then we had Beazer Homes up 14.53%, home builder there. Grubhub had a very good week, up almost 13% there. Now on the downside, Revlon, the makeup company. Can you believe this, guys? Revlon went down over 19% this week. Avon Products went down 20% this week. Kind of a similar related company there. 3D Systems had a very bad week. This used to be a high flyer back in the day. I think the stock used to be $100 at one point. Down 20% this week. We had Clear Channel Outdoor Holdings, a good old billboard company, down 17% this week. And to finish off the list, RH Restoration Hardware. We've talked about this one many times on this channel. This one went down 18% this week. So those are the stocks that went up and down the most. That's how the markets did, guys. Let me know if you have any stocks that made a big, huge move this week, upside or downside. I'd love to hear from you because it seemed like a lot of stocks either went up a ton or down a ton this week. Love to hear from you in that comment section. All right, let's get into some of these biggest stories. So the biggest story that caught my attention this week is the Dow rose to a record high again, 8th straight record close after much stronger than expected jobs report. So jobs report came in good. And basically, the Dow is now 8 straight days of record closes, guys. That's absolutely amazing. And, you know, it's interesting. That's all I can say about it. It's interesting. A lot of overvalued companies out there. Still some that are undervalued, in my opinion. A lot of them that are fairly valued. But we got a lot of very overvalued companies in this market right now. And that's why I have more cash on the sidelines right now than I've ever had at any point in my investing career, guys. So something to take into account there. Apple, this is the second biggest news story for me this week, was Apple announced earnings. So just phenomenal earnings here. We're going to look at this. It was just a stellar all around. 63 cents in dividends they are going to pay out on August 17th. So any of you Apple shareholders, you got that dividend coming toward you. Q3 EPS of $1.67, up 17% year over year versus expectations of $1.57. Q3 revenue came in at $45.4 billion, up 7% year over year versus expectations of $44.95. Gross margin came in at 38.5, up 1% year over year versus expectations of 38.2. iPhone unit sales came in at 41 million, up 1% year over year versus expectations of 41.1. iPad unit sales came in at 11.42 million, up 14% year over year. Macs were flat year over year. Q4 guidance was 49 to 52 billion there, so around 50.5 is the midpoint, versus expectations of 49.21. So basically, just about everything was a beat. I mean, that Apple earnings report was just stellar. They just really, knocked numbers out of the ballpark. The only negative I really saw with that report was they still have weakness in China. Outside of the weakness in China, guys, it was almost a perfect earnings report. Absolutely amazing there. Next company up is Activision Blizzard. Reported some very strong numbers here. Stock did fall the next day on Friday, but it did report some very good numbers. Activision Blizzard raised its full-year adjusted revenue and profit forecast for the second time on Thursday, as a video game publisher benefits from higher digital sales and popularity of its multiplayer futuristic game called Overwatch. Do any of you guys play Overwatch? I would love to hear from you guys about that. The company raised its full-year adjusted profit to $2 per share from $1.88 per share, and adjusted revenue forecast of $6.58 billion versus $6.33 billion. So very good numbers there. Very well-run company. A lot of people are saying they're kind of like the Disney of the future. Like they're transforming that company into kind of like a Disney type situation there, guys. So definitely a company I pay attention to. It used to be a company I was invested in. I'm not currently invested in it anymore. Probably the biggest news story for me personally this week was honestly GoPro. GoPro reported some very good numbers here. The company reported losses of 9 cents per share on sales of 296 million. This was higher than they expected. They were expected to lose 25 cents per share, so they came in way better than expected. And they were expected to come in at about 269 million, and they came in at 296 million. So that was just a very good earnings report. I did a full video about the GoPro earnings and my feelings on that, so we won't even talk about it anymore. Yelp, look at this one. We talked about that one, made the list as far as one of the stocks that did the best this week. Yelp recovered from a damaging chance to its ad business to post a big earnings beat Thursday, sending shares skyrocketing higher as the company announced a partnership with Grubhub. Yelp reported second quarter net income of $7.6 million or 9 cents per share, sales of $208 million, up from results of a penny, and sales of $173 million. So Yelp is one of those companies that it came public with quite a bit of hype, right? And, everybody kind of, dissipated from it, and it was a struggling stock for a long time. And now all of a sudden it's come back, and we see what the share price has done over the last year. And then the numbers are just getting better. They're showing good growth in the revenues and the profits. And then they got the big partnership now with Grubhub. So very interesting company, a company I should probably look into fully, because it looks like there's a lot of excitement around that one. Square, this is a company that turned around as soon as I started using them for my business. Holy smokes, this stock has been amazing. Square, the payments processing company founded by Jack Dorsey, reported its second quarter earnings after the bell on Wednesday. After beating expectations, the stock quickly ran up 4% after initial trading. Square reported revenues of $552 million when analysts were forecasting for $536. It's also up 26% from the same period last year. So very strong growth there, guys. Now, that covers the biggest stories that I was paying attention to this week. Now, what do we have for next week? We got some very big earnings on top. Michael Kors is reporting numbers. Why is this one important to me? Well, this one was added on the 4 stocks I'm buying August video, so very important. It's the first earnings since I became a shareholder in this company, so that should be interesting. Disney is reporting numbers, obviously one of the biggest content companies in the world, always very important to pay attention to. Nvidia is reporting numbers. Nvidia, one of the high flyers of the past year or two, that one is reporting numbers. And lastly, Snapchat, the most interesting to me of them all, good old Snapchat. We're going to get to see how that earnings report is taken. Is it going to be taken where the stock shoots higher? I had a dream last night that Snapchat all of a sudden was back at $25 a share or something like that. So maybe it's an epiphany, or maybe, it struggles more. It's one of those stocks I'm just watching right now. I'm watching closely. I got my money ready if this one goes to the downside big and things aren't too bad. But we'll see what happens with that, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know what you guys are paying attention to next week. I would love to hear from you guys. Follow me on Snapchat and Instagram. I got now a special Fidelity account, which I put $2,000 into, and we're just going to see what we build that over to in the next few years. And I only post those pictures and screenshots on Snapchat, so you got to follow me on Snapchat if you want to see that account and how it's doing and all that stuff, guys. So check out my books. They're linked in the description. My stock market strategy, 10 ways to make passive income 2017. If you just came across this channel, you may want to subscribe. We talk personal finance in the channel. We talk entrepreneurship. We talk stock market investing more than anything, including this series every single Saturday. Thank you for watching, guys, and have a great day.